In a war-torn country of Afghanistan, a 30-year-old woman diligently cares for her paralyzed husband who was left in a vegetative state after a bullet lodged in his neck. Amidst the sounds of gunfire and explosions outside, the woman remains steadfast in her commitment to her husband, gently washing his face and hands while holding a rosary in her hands, seeking strength and solace from Allah to help her husband overcome his illness. Desperate to awaken her husband from his coma, the woman implores him to hold his breath, hoping to elicit a response. But to her dismay, there is no response from her husband, despite the doctor's earlier assurances that he would recover in a week or two. Only her two daughters provide her with a temporary respite from the constant care she provides her husband. However, even this moment of relief is short-lived as hunger sets in and the woman ventures out to buy food and medicine. But when she is turned away by a pharmacist for not having any money, she returns home empty-handed, forced to give her husband only a dropper of salty water to relieve his hunger. Undeterred, the woman continues to tend to her husband, constantly seeking his permission to go out and buy essentials, despite knowing that he will not answer. Her determination is further tested when she visits her aunt, hoping for support, but is turned away by an unknown woman. The realization that she has no one to turn to and that her family had abandoned her and her daughters leaves her feeling deeply hurt and alone. Despite these challenges, the woman remains resolute and turns to Allah for comfort and strength, praying that her husband will recover and that they can continue to live their lives together. She is determined not to become a single mother and is resolute in her faith, knowing that only Allah can provide her with the strength to endure the hardships that she and her family face. At the same time, she understands why her husband's relatives left. He, like his brothers, knew about the approaching war and understood that the house was in the line of fire. Woman reproaches her husband for not telling her about this, for not warning her and the children about the impending threat. She also decides to admit that she is unhappy with the marriage. For 10 years of marriage, woman practically did not see her husband, but she was the object of adoration for his brothers. If he had died, she could have become the wife of one of them and would have been safe now. But that didn't happen. She is even more offended by the fact that her husband never paid attention to her. As a young girl, she did not marry him but a photograph, and a blade mother of the spouse controlled girl so much that she slept with her so that she would not cheat on her husband while he was at war. Woman does not understand why she tells her husband everything, but she is sure that he hears her and continues to plunge into memories. Her parents are the only example of family life that a woman had, but she can't call it good. Her father was obsessed with quails and could stroke them for hours, after which he played arranged quail fights and bets on them. He was a terrible head of the family because he often raised his hand both to his wife and to his daughters. Once a man spent all his money on expensive and special quills in the hope that they would make him rich. During the duel, Bird got scared and ran away. Father could not pay his debts, so he gave his eldest 12-year-old daughter in marriage to a man to whom he lost money. Afraid of being next, the woman as a child took out a quail and fed it to the cat, which left scars on her face. Continuing to feel oppressed, woman decides not to tell her husband anything else and runs away to her aunt. She confesses to her that she cannot stop talking and tells terrible secrets. A relative tells woman that a paralyzed person unconsciously becomes a magical stone of patience to which absolutely everything can be told. Once upon a time, there was a legend that a stone can withstand anything, but one day it will break into thousands of small pieces, making its owner a prophet of Allah. Realizing that her husband has not died for 3 weeks, woman decides that he is her patient stone to whom she can tell everything she thinks. Upon returning home, woman washes her husband and kisses him for the first time in 10 years of marriage. Here she recalls the wedding night and the fact that she could not get pregnant. The mother-in-law treated her badly, so woman had to commit a bad deed which she still cannot tell about. Soon woman hears strange sounds, but it turns out that the neighbors are burying their relatives. There is no money for the treatment of her husband, so she does not let doctor on the threshold and leaves. Soon woman returns as the city is full of soldiers and they can kill paralyzed husband. She hides him in a niche covering with curtains and a pillow. A few minutes later, the commander of the detachment and stuttering soldier appear in the house. Afraid that they will take her by force, woman says that she is selling her body. A Muslim considers touching a woman low and disgusting, resorting only to insulting her and spitting in her face. Little did he know, the woman held a knife behind her back, ready to kill the commander if he approached her. That night, the woman promised to reveal all her secrets to her husband, only to hide him the next morning when a stuttering soldier returned, willing to pay any amount for intimacy. Afterward, the woman felt ashamed and cried, attempting to wash away her guilt. She spent the money on water, food, and medicine for her husband, putting on a drip before doing laundry outside. The soldier returned, ready to pay again, and the woman confessed to her husband, realizing the danger she had put herself in. She sought solace in the Quran, repenting for her sins. One morning, she discovered the soldier had repaired her fence and felt sympathy for his plight. Later, she received a gold chain and fruit from the soldier, feeling happy and fulfilled as a woman. She attempted to caress her husband, but her guilt weighed heavily on her conscience. She revealed to him that neither of their children was biologically his, and in a fit of rage, he tried to strangle her. The woman killed him with a knife and believed she had become a prophetess. The young soldier witnessed the murder and the movie ended.